So in this second video, we're going to show you how we can serve out Ordnance Survey data via a web mapping tile service. So if you've watched the first video, we should already have seen how we put together our Ordnance Survey stack so that it's ready to use, and this is what we've got in front of us. So I'm going to just turn this off for a second. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use our web server called Geognosis to serve the data out. So Geognosis is a web service that allows you to serve out web mapping tile services, web feature services, web mapping services, but it also allows you to do mashups with Google Maps and Bing Maps, and it's got its own API code that allows to run the web mapping as well. So what we can see in front of us is we can have different instances within the server. So I've got this Geognosis test demonstration, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that we want to create a new data file. And the application goes to the folders where I stored my original data, and we can see we have our Ordnance Survey WMTS underscore pre-sales SWD, and I'm going to say that I want to open that. Now the server will read the data and say, right, I know that we need to load it in, so we can say that we want to preload the data file at startup. And then what we can do is we can choose any of the services that we want to serve this data out as. So I'm going to say that we might want to serve this out at some point as a OGC web feature service, a web map service, and the one that we're going to use today is our web map tile service as well. Once we've done that, we can click apply and OK. And if we refresh this instance, what will happen is we've now got our own instance of the web mapping tile service being served out in front of us. So if we right click and say that we want to preview this in a browser, we can now see that the data that we created in the SWD at the start is now being served into a browser and allowing us to see the data in front of us, and we can zoom right into a particular area that we're interested in. And because it's a web mapping tile service, technically it gets quicker over time. The more people access it, the quicker it gets because it's pre-populating and generating these tiles as we're zooming in and zooming out accordingly. So we can see that this is how we've created it. But what that then allows us to do is we could have this being served into a web mapping service, such as our Catacorp's own web map layers. And again, we can zoom in through all the different layers that we've got available to us, all the way down to our master map level. But then what we can also do is using the free Map Express software, we could say that we wanted to add an overlay. The free software also supports the OGC compliant datasets, so we're going to say we want to add an OGC web mapping tile service into here. We need to know what the URL is for the service that we've got running, and this is what it is, and we can click next. What we can then do is choose the overall data. So I'm going to select the Ordnance Survey WMTS underscore pre-sales. The format I'm just going to change to RGBA so it picks up on the transparencies that we set. And then what I'm also going to do is say that the tile matrix is compatible plus. And when we click finish, the data comes in nice and easily. And then what we can do again is just zoom through all the different layers we've got available to us. And we can go right down to our master map level quite nicely, and you'll see we've got a National Ordnance Survey stack of data. Okay, so now that this has been completed, you've seen how easy it is to create a web mapping tile service from a set of Ordnance Survey data within the desktop GIS software. We can then serve that out using a web server. In this occasion, we're using our Geognosis web server. And then what we've also done is we've shown you where you could use that WMTS. So we've shown you the web map layers product, which is the web mapping, and in front of us now we've got our free desktop software as well.